Hey everyone, Wade Watley here. This is my journal abstract video submission for Group 2 on the topic I was assigned of Transformational Leadership, or TL. TL is a style that is characterized by motivation, where leaders help followers reach their fullest potential and is perceptive of both their needs and motives in the process. And according to Northouse, this engagement of a leader with their followers can establish a bond that raises the level of motivation and morality in both the leader and the follower. The article I selected was Followers' Motives as Moderators of the Effects of Transformational Leadership Behaviors on Follower Outcomes and Leaders' Influence. This is written by Hugo Kerr, Dorina Graf, and Kaffer Vakash. Now, it's a mouthful, but what it boiled down to is whether or not followers' motives could influence the effects of transformational leadership behavior, TLB, and what the effect could have on leaders' influence and the follower task performance. The authors discuss whether the effectiveness of TL is predisposed by the alignment between TLBs and the motives of their followers. And by combining the research of TL and motives, they work to find overlaps in followers' motives and TLBs, to see if there is a connection between the preferences of TLBs and followers' motives, and whether the followers' motives can moderate the effect of TLBs and how it relates to influence and performance. Now, the authors conducted 3 studies for this paper, and the first study was a content analysis of the literature on research of TL. They looked to find potential overlaps between followers' motives of power, achievement, and affiliation, and the corresponding TLBs of inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individual consideration. They searched for articles with TL in the title and TLBs in the abstract, and they used these articles to calculate the motive score through word count, where power, achievement, and affiliation appeared in each article containing TLBs. The second study was a vignette study, or a small study, conducted to see if followers' preference for leadership behavior depended on their motive. This was performed by selecting 113 diverse participants and using a picture story exercise to find their motives. Now, picture story exercise is where they're shown a 6-picture set, and each picture is a different thing: a baker, a cook, a doctor getting ready for surgery. And they're asked to describe what they saw in these pictures. These descriptions were then coded with the motives affiliation, achievement, and power. Then they were asked which TLB was preferred after they were described to them. Once completed, a regression was run to determine if the participant motives matched specific TLBs. Now, the last study was a very extensive experiment conducted to determine if there was truth that a follower's motives moderated the effects of different TLBs. In other words, does this follower's motive have an effect on the behavior of the leader? This study involved 116 German students aged between 19 and 40. Most were women, 62% women, 38% males. And as with the second study, picture story exercise was administered to ascertain the participants' motives. Preferred TLBs were selected through the viewing of videos about goal-setting interviews and a series of manipulations and measures. And after watching the videos, they had to decide what TLB the leader reflected in their video. Then they were tasked with creating ideas to convince other team members to use goal-setting interviews. They had to prioritize 10 daily tasks and assess on a scale of 1 to 7 if using goal-setting interviews as a leadership technique was something they would do. Now, the studies did find that different types of TLBs align with specific follower motives. In study 1, each TLB was emphasized a different motive: individual consideration with affiliation, intellectual stimulation with achievement, and inspirational motivation with power. The second study showed that followers' motives were significantly linked to their preference for a specific TLB. And in study 3, the effect of each TLB on follower performance was moderated by their motives, with power supporting inspirational motivation, affiliation supporting individual consideration, and achievement supporting intellectual stimulation. Now, each one of these motives were also found in each one of the TLBs, but power and affiliation and achievement stood out more in inspirational motivation, individual consideration, and intellectual stimulation, respectively. And overall, the findings suggest that followers' motives influence both the TLB preferences and how effective these TLBs are in improving their performance. Now, what I found particularly interesting in that Northouse describes charismatic leadership nearly as identical, synonymous with transformational leadership, so much that it is included as a factor in TL. However, the authors thought that charisma was a subdimension and excluded it along with influence, both factors in transformational leadership. I wonder personally if these had been added in, and you had 5 motives instead of just 3, I wonder if these 2 factors had been included, what difference would they have made to the results? And another part of the focus was the last study. The task that they were assigned was geared to goal setting, and goal setting is more in line with the power motive. But if the focus of the task had been associated more with achievement or affiliation motives, would the motive moderation have shifted or remained the same? I look forward to hearing your discussions and reading your discussion post, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a good night.